Week 6. The weight of a decision. The line a man crosses. April 1847. Sean Maher had always believed there were certain things a man simply did not do. A man did not abandon his family. A man did not take what belonged to another. A man did not lie when the truth was required. His father had taught him those things, not with speeches, with the quiet example of a man who had spent his entire life working in other man's land and still managed to hold his head high. "Your name is the one thing no landlord can ever take from you," his father used to say. Sean had believed him, until now. Liam stopped asking for food. That frightened Breed more than anything. A hungry child cried. A hungry child complained. A hungry child searched every corner for crumbs. Liam no longer did any of these things. He simply lay beneath the blanket inside the scalpeen, staring upwards. Sometimes he spoke, sometimes he didn't. On the rare occasions when he smiled, Breed treasured it like a precious thing. One morning, Sean found him awake, looking at the broken roof above him. "What are you thinking about, lad?" Liam turned. "Home." Sean sat beside him. "We'll have a home again." "With a door?" Sean smiled. "A proper door." "And chickens?" "Many chickens." "And my white one?" Sean hesitated. "Aye." Liam closed his eyes. "Good." A few moments later he whispered, "Da?" "Yes." "Was I bad?" Sean felt his heart break. "What?" "Because we lost the house." Sean stared at him. "My son, I heard people saying God punishes people." Sean pulled him close. "You listen to me." His voice shook. "You could never do anything that would make me love you less." Liam nodded. But Sean could see the boy had been carrying that fear alone. A 3-year-old child believing his suffering was punishment. Mary had begun changing too. She had stopped asking when they were going home. That was worse than asking. Children who expect something still believe it can happen. Mary had begun accepting. She helped Breed gather wood. She cleaned the little pot. She folded the blankets each morning. She watched Liam when Breed needed to rest, and too often Sean found her sitting beside her brother, gently stroking his hair. "You should be playing." Mary shrugged. "He gets lonely." "You're a child." She looked at him. "Not anymore." The word stayed with him. Sean continued searching for work every day. Every failure, every rejection, he returned to the scalpeen with nothing. And every night he told Breed the same thing, "Tomorrow." But tomorrow was becoming a cruel word. One afternoon he found himself outside a warehouse near Cork Harbour, not the grain stores, a different building. He asked for work, and the answer came quickly, "No." Sean nodded. As he turned away, he heard a voice behind him. "You again?" He recognized the guard, the same man from the harbour. Sean looked back. "Do you know somewhere where a man can find work?" The guard laughed softly. "If I did, I'd be there myself." Sean almost smiled. The guard studied him. "You family?" "Yes." "Children?" "2." The guard looked away. "I've 1. "Where?" The man's expression changed. "Buried last month." Sean said nothing. The guard kicked at the dirt. "People think guards are different." "What do you mean?" "They think because we're watching the grain we don't see." He glanced towards the warehouse. "We see everything." "What?" The guard looked back at him. "Empty hands." Then he walked away. That evening Sean told Breed about the guard. She listened quietly. "He lost a child?" "Aye. And yet he still guards the food." Sean looked towards a distant harbour. "Aye. Why?" Sean had no answer. 2 days later Liam worsened. The fever returned violently. His body shook beneath the blanket. Breed held him through the night. Sean walked outside. He couldn't bear watching. That frightened him. A father should be able to watch his child suffering. A father should be able to comfort him. But Sean felt helpless, and helplessness had begun turning into something darker. At dawn he found Tomas sitting beside the dying fire. "You look like you've not slept." "I haven't." Tomas glanced toward the scalpeen. "Liam?" Sean nodded. "Bad." Tomas sighed. "I lost my daughter the same way." Sean looked at him. "How did you survive it?" Tomas stared into the ashes. "I didn't." The answer surprised Sean. Tomas looked up. I continued breathing. That's not the same thing." For a while they sat silently. Then Sean spoke. I saw something. What? The harbour. Tomás looked uncomfortable. You've been there often. Yes. Why? Sean didn't answer immediately because saying the words aloud would make them real. Finally he whispered, because there's food there. Tomás looked away. Sean, I know what you're thinking. Do you? That it's wrong. Tomás was silent. Sean continued, there are thousands of sacks. I know. Enough that ships carry it away. I know. While children starve on the roadside. Tomás rubbed his face. Sean, I don't want to do it. The words came out almost like a confession. I don't want to be that man. Tomás watched him carefully. What are you saying? Sean looked toward the sleeping children. I'm saying... He stopped. His voice broke. I'm saying if Liam dies, I don't know what I'll become. Tomás said nothing, because there was nothing to say. That evening, Sean and Breed sat together outside the Scalpine. The children slept. The fire was nearly gone. I spoke to Tomás. Breed looked at him. About what? Sean didn't answer. She already knew. Sean? I haven't done anything. I know, but I have thought about it. Breed closed her eyes. For a moment, she looked older than she had ever looked. Taking food? He nodded. Just enough. From the harbour? Yes. She looked toward Cork. No. Sean flinched. I knew you'd say that. Because I know you. What else can I do? I don't know. The honesty of the answer hurt more than anger would have. I don't know either. She reached for his hand. But if you go down that road... She struggled to continue. What? I may lose you. Sean stared at her. You may lose me anyway. The words came out before he could stop them, and Breed looked away. Neither spoke, because both knew. The next morning, Tomás came to him. I've been thinking. Sean looked up. About what? What you said. Sean's stomach tightened. I shouldn't have said it. No. Tomás looked exhausted. You should not. Sean nodded. I know. But I understand why. Sean stared at him. Tomás lowered his voice. If a man has no choices... He paused. People cannot judge what he does next. Sean looked at him. You think I should? No. Tomás shook his head. I think you should find another way. Relief crossed Sean's face for a moment. Then Tomás continued, but I don't know if there is another way. That afternoon, Tomás walked home alone. His wife Nora was waiting. She saw his face immediately. What happened? Nothing. Tomás? He sat down heavily. I know something. Nora became still. What? He didn't answer, because he had already hated himself for knowing. A reward had been offered, not officially, not publicly, but rumours moved quickly among desperate people. Information about theft, information about grain, information about men planning trouble, food, money, a chance to survive. Tomás had heard the rumours, and now he knew something. That night Sean slept beside his children. His hand rested on Liam's blanket, and for the first time in weeks he felt almost peaceful. Not because anything had improved, because he had made a decision. He would wait one more day, one more chance, one more attempt to find work. If nothing came, then he would decide. Outside the Scalpine, the wind moved through the trees. Across the fields, Cork harbour lights flickered in the distance, and somewhere between the starving roads and the guarded warehouses, a friendship began to break, not from hatred, not from greed, but from the terrible fact that famine could make ordinary people choose between their conscience and their survival. Week 7. The Price of Hunger. The Night at the Harbour. April 1847. The morning began with birdsong. That's what Sean remembered most. Years later, when memories returned to him in the darkness of another country, it was never the shouting that came first. Not the guards, not the chains, not the courtroom. It was the birds. A blackbird singing in a tree above a starving family. A beautiful sound in a world that had become unbearable. Liam did not wake that morning. Not properly. Breed sat beside him, holding his hand. Sean. He knew from her voice. He knew before she spoke. What? He hasn't opened his eyes. Sean crawled into the Scalpine. Liam. Nothing. He touched his son's cheek. The fever had changed. The burning heat was gone. For one terrible moment Sean felt relief. Then he understood. The coldness frightened him more. Breed. She looked at him. Neither of them spoke. A mother knows. A father knows. Some truths do not need words. Sean lifted the boy. Liam. The child's eyes opened slightly. Da. I'm here. Are we going home? Sean swallowed. Aye. When? He looked at Breed. She turned away. Soon. Liam smiled faintly. Good. Then he closed his eyes again. That morning Sean did not go to Cork. He stayed. For the first time in weeks he abandoned the search for work. He sat beside his son. He held his hand. He told him stories. Stories of the farm. Stories of chickens and summer evenings. Stories of the first time he met Breed at the fair. You were wearing a blue ribbon. Breed smiled weakly. I was not. You were. It was green. Sean looked at her. Was it? Aye. Mary looked up. What colour was it? Sean smiled. I suppose your mother was right. Mary laughed softly. For a few moments, just a few, they were not starving. They were a family. By afternoon, Liam worsened. Breed knew before Sean did. She saw something in his face. Something children sometimes lose when they become too weak. The fight. Sean. He looked up. Don't what? Don't pretend. He lowered his eyes. What do you want me to do? I don't know. The answer broke her, because she was the mother. She was supposed to know. That evening, Mary quietly walked away from the fire. Sean found her sitting beside the road. She was holding her wooden horse. What are you doing? She looked up, talking to him. To who? She looked embarrassed. The horse. Sean sat beside her. What did he say? Mary looked at the little carving. That Liam needs to get better. Sean forced himself to smile. He sounds wise. Mary nodded. He says I should give Liam my bread. Sean looked away. Mary had stopped surprising him. She had simply become too old too quickly. No. Why? Because you need food. But Liam is smaller. Sean pulled her close. You are my child too. She leaned against him. For a long time neither spoke. After dark, Sean went to find Tomas. He found him near the old oak where they'd first shared shelter. Tomas looked surprised. Sean? I need to ask you something. The expression on Tomas's face changed, a mixture of fear and sadness. What? Sean looked toward the road. I need to know the harbour. Tomas said nothing. What times the guards change. Silence. Sean closed his eyes. I don't want to do this. Then don't. What would you do? Tomas looked away. Sean continued. My son is dying. Tomas whispered. I know. I need enough grain for a few days. Sean, not money. No, not anything else. No, just food. Tomas stared at him, and for a moment Sean saw his friend again. The man who had shared turnips, the man who had brought a rabbit, the man who sat beside him through endless nights. Please. Tomas looked down. The west gate is less watched after midnight. Sean held his breath. Tomas, don't. I said don't. The pain in Tomas's voice stopped him. For a moment neither man moved. Then Sean whispered, Thank you. Tomas nodded, but he didn't look at him. Before leaving, Sean returned to the scalpine. Breed was awake. You found him. It wasn't a question. Sean sat beside her. I need you to understand. No. I haven't gone yet, but you will. He looked at her. She was crying. I don't want this. I know. I don't want to become someone else. I know. But our children... She covered her face. Sean reached for her. I promise you. What? I'll come back. She shook her head. Don't promise things you can't control. The words struck him, because they were true. The harbour was different at night. During the day it was noise, movement, labour. At night it became something colder. Silent, guarded. The warehouses stood like great stone animals beside the water. Sean moved carefully through the shadows. He had no weapon, no plan beyond hunger. He carried a small sack, that was all. Enough for his family, nothing more. That's what he told himself. The west gate stood ahead, 2 guards, then 1. Sean waited, moments passed, his heart hammered. Not from fear, from shame. He thought of his father, of his own words. A man's name is the one thing no one can take. He almost turned away, and then he remembered Liam asking about chickens, Mary giving away her bread, and he stepped forward. The lock on the side door was old, older than the famine, older than many of the men guarding it. Sean had worked with tools his entire life. His hand knew things his mind did not. Within minutes the door was open. He froze. The smell struck him. Grain. Thousands of sacks, a mountain of food. For one moment he simply stood there, not stealing, not moving, just staring. Then he whispered, "God forgive me." He reached for a sack. "Don't move!" The voice came from behind him. Sean froze, and slowly he turned. 3 guards stood in the doorway, lanterns raised, weapons ready. Behind them the warehouse foreman, and beside him Tomás Kelleher. Sean stared. No anger came, only disbelief. Tomás? His friend looked like a man who had been struck. "I tried to stop it." Sean looked at him. "Did you—" Tomás opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The guards moved forward. Sean did not resist. He had no strength left for fighting. The trial lasted less than an hour. The theft of grain during a famine was treated as a serious crime. The magistrate looked down from his bench. "You admit entering the warehouse?" Sean nodded. "Yes." "With intent to steal?" Sean looked at the floor. "Yes." "Why?" The courtroom was silent. Sean thought of lying. He couldn't. "My children were starving." The magistrate looked unmoved. "Many people are suffering. I know. That does not excuse theft." "No." Sean lifted his eyes. "But it explains it." The magistrate lowered his papers. 10 years transportation. Breed gasped. Mary began crying. Sean turned toward them only once, only long enough to memorize their faces. Then the guards took him away. Outside the courthouse, Tomás stood alone. Sean was being led toward the waiting wagon. Their eyes met. Tomás looked broken. "I'm sorry." Sean stopped. For a moment it seemed like he might speak. Instead he simply nodded. Not forgiveness, not anger, only understanding. Because Sean knew the truth. The famine had not just taken their food, it had taken their choices. That evening, as Sean was taken away from the prison cells that would eventually lead him to the ship carrying him away from Ireland, Breed sat beneath the oak with Mary and Liam. Liam's eyes opened briefly. "Where's Da?" Breed held him close. He had to go away. "Will he come back?" She looked toward the dark road, the same road they had walked together, the same road that had taken everything from them, and she whispered the only answer she could, "I don't know." For the first time since the eviction, Breed allowed herself to consider the possibility that hope itself could be something a person could starve to death.